We are all connected through shared experiences, and while our circumstances may vary, there is almost always a common thread in our stories. I am Amy Seaman, and these are the stories that connect us. Let's be real for a moment. Being an entrepreneur can be incredibly rewarding, but it can also be really lonely, especially when you're a business of one. Having spent most of my career in corporate America, I still crave a sense of community, a place outside of my home that's motivating and inspiring, a reason to put on a great outfit and make new connections. I have tried posting up at a local coffee shop from time to time, but I'm too ADHD to tune out all the conversations happening around me. And I crave something more permanent. And yet, the idea of joining a co-working space felt a little intimidating. That changed recently when I was introduced to the North House in Minneapolis. Imagine a space where you can work where you play, a gorgeous environment where you can bring your clients and feel proud. North House is a unique blend of co-working, social club, and impactful events. It's a place where you can find your people, grow in community, and even get a fresh haircut at their in-house barber. North House is all about aligning the heart of people with the opportunity to serve at the highest level. It's a place to create new frontiers, connect with fellow adventure seekers, and unleash a new level of meaning and success. So if you're looking for a place that combines work, community, and a bit of adventure, North House is the place to be. Join us and let's grow, give, and work together. Visit nohompls.com. That's NOHOMPLS.com for more details. Trust me, this could be the place to fill that gap you've been looking for since you ventured out on your own. To share. I also have just really enjoyed being a part of your style transformation and seeing what that has done for you and your confidence in your career. So we're definitely going to dive into that too.
Yes, well, I'm super grateful for that for sure. But also the feeling's mutual of just like, when you vibe with someone and you're just like, when they're an energy giver instead of an energy vampire, for
Yes.
sure. And I
Ooh.
think you just have to surround yourself with those people. And you are definitely one of those for me too.
Oh,
So
thank
grateful
you.
for you.
Yes, love it. Okay, tell us about your background. So you were a college athlete. Basketball has been your life. Talk about that.
It has, yes. Well, I was a college athlete. I played basketball down at Trinity University in San Antonio. I'm originally from Minnesota, but even before just basketball, I played if there was a ball, I was around. I played tennis, I played softball, I played soccer, I played basketball, all in college. And sports have just like been my life.
Yep.
And I didn't when I was playing sports, and especially for a young girl at the time, it like yes, the WNBA was around, and yes, it was like you could be a professional sports athlete, like you could see them, but it was just so limited, as well as my talent was probably limited. But I didn't know that sports could be like a career
Mm,
until I was maybe a sophomore or junior in college, still playing basketball. So, people say like, love what you do and you never have to work a day in your life.
yep.
I love, love, love sports, always have, so
Hmm.
competitive and enjoy playing. So, yeah, was
So what
four-year
was that
athlete.
moment like? How did you realize that you could have a career? Because you tell us what you do now.
Oh, yes. I'm the vice president of corporate partnership sales for the Timberwolves and Lynx,
Yes, so you are
which is
still
awesome.
yes, and awesome because also you are what the first.
Yes, I am the first female in this role, I think, in the history of the organization. Technically, we haven't actually ever had a vice president of corporate sales, but
Yep.
even before that, I was director of sales, and all of the former directors before me in the 30-year history of the Wolves and Lynx had been male.
Breaking glass ceilings.
Trying to,
Ah,
with
so
Jordans
incredible.
on,
I
not
love that is a
heels.
badge of honor. That is so incredible.
Thank you.
Okay, so so going back to like when did you realize that you could have a career? Like, did someone tell this to you? Did you have a mentor?
Yeah, so honestly, there was a sport management minor
Oh,
at my college,
yep.
which was crazy to me. So I got a double major in business and communications. with the sport management minor with some of my business degrees, I realized I could take sports classes.
Okay.
And I was like, oh, what are these? So the classes were at the gym, like not in the gym, but in the facility. And so it was like, I would just pop over from practice to the class. It was great. And they had a direct funnel from Trinity to the Spurs organization. There's a lot of Trinity alum that work at the San Antonio Spurs. And so a lot of the class projects that we did were to help support ticket sales or things like that with the Spurs. And through that, I met an amazing mentor, Jeannie Garza. She was a Trinity alum and was also in the sorority that I was in at Trinity. And so that's when I connected with her and learned more about what she did. And I was like, that's awesome. I want to do that. And shockingly, she was the VP of corporate partnerships. So I'm just trying to be like Jeannie instead of like the WWJD.
What an amazing full circle moment for her, I'm sure. So you were, and shout out to the women who are bringing other women along with them, like mentors. I've had some incredible mentors in my career. And I hope to be a mentor to others. I am at the Wayzata High School in their Compass program, and it just brings me so much joy.
Yeah, definitely.
You were in a sorority and you played college basketball.
I did, yes.
How did you have time for any of this? I feel like I could barely even get myself to class.
Honestly, to answer your question, I don't know, because we had like 6 a.m. practice, and then you'd be out partying like all night. Like I don't, my body at 20 years old can do a lot of different things than I can now.
Yeah.
But it was
R.I.P.
funny
to the young bods.
Right. The sorority I was in was called Spurs, which obviously it was a small school, local sororities. It wasn't like the Greek letters. It was formed to spur on female athletes. Okay. And so a lot of the girls in Spurs were soccer players, softball players, basketball players.
Interesting.
So we had there was just a different mentality around it of like, oh yeah, you can't come, you have practice, or oh yeah, you have you're in California playing game, yes, no problem. There wasn't as much that wasn't life. It was an extension of teams. Almost. And there were girls too that were not in those, but the ones that were got it. You know? So
the mindset of an athlete is different. Super. I feel like in just even how youth sports has really changed since I played sports as a kid. I grew up in a small town, Indiana. I was a 3-sport athlete. I never was strong enough to even think about or had a desire to go on in college. But I just remember you could play whatever you wanted. Now it is so competitive at such a young age. My oldest son, who is 11, he plays lacrosse and basketball, and it's he wanted to play a 3rd sport, and we're like, when do you have time? It's all year round. It's wild.
Well, and they feel like they have to choose one sport so young too. And I think something that was so helpful for me was fall I had my tennis friends, winter I had my basketball friends, spring I had my softball friends, and you learn to vibe and mesh with different groups, and you learn how to access different people for different things in your life. So and my husband coaches 7th, 8th grade boys basketball at Wayzata, and they're choosing one sport so soon, and it's it's not great for your body, it's not great for your mental personality health. So I'm so happy that your son's in 2, which is awesome. But it's crazy how soon you have to choose. But I do think the mentality has served me so well. You can tell when you're I want to hire athletes.
Yes.
Because
they have grit.
Yeah.
They have work ethic. They know how to
lose.
They know how to lose. Yes. They know how to be part of a team. Yeah. Yes. My husband, who is a director of sales, he says the exact, and a youth sports coach. We talk about that too. Both of our husbands are similar in that way. But yes, he loves to hire an athlete.
I think knowing how to fail, especially in sales. So I oversee the sales team.
Yep.
We fail 90% of the time. 90%. Probably 95% of our answers are no. If you get 3 deals a year, you're super successful.
Okay.
So you just have to chase. I love no's because I guess that means I have one more checked off until a yes is coming. But
okay, let's pause on that for a second. Mel Robbins.
Oh, okay. I've listened to more of your podcast than I have Mel Robbins.
Oh, well, thank you. Love that for me. No, but that is such a great way to look at it, because you do have to find joy in the mundane of every day. And so that's one thing that I noticed about you right away is your positive mindset and how you frame things in a way that is not discouraging, right? But it's inspiring for you and it continues to push you. I love that. So a no means you're checking a box for one step closer to getting that yes.
Correct.
I love
Yes.
that.
It's very, and I don't know, I guess I don't know any other way.
Yep.
You know, I like if I didn't look at it that way, I would be just miserable in
Yep.
my like, oh my God, I suck. I can't like
Yeah.
no. There's so I think it's out of necessity
Yep.
almost to have to be able to reframe it that way. And I do, it's so great to hear you say that you feel the positive energy, that you feel that mindset, because it's hard work.
Yeah.
It really is. And I think there's times where I don't always have that and I don't feel like I'm portraying that. But I think to hear other people that see that, like
Yeah.
that's helpful for me too. So I appreciate the noticing. But I think
Yeah.
there's just, you have a choice every day.
Yes.
Something that I learned from an executive leadership program I was in. You can either be the victim or the victor. You get to choose. You can't be both.
Yep.
And so it's like every day I'm just gonna be the victor. Like
Yep.
I can't be the victim because you have one life.
Yeah.
And like you have one body, you have one life, you have one soul,
Yep.
you have one mind. Like why would you not enjoy it? Why would you not choose positivity, choose happiness? Yes, there's frustrations and not everything's sunshine and rainbows, but creating your own reality is so important because you're the one that has to live in it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Like,
yes.
So.
And I think that I feel like there are more people that are in the victim mentality than the victor. So I think that that's really something, and you're right, it takes mindfulness, it takes practice. I think that I'm going to be 41 in September, and I feel like only the last couple of years have I really started to intentionally change my mindset because I was a victim of a lot of things in high school and in my career before I stepped out on my own. But I have, like you said, realized that I'm in control of what happens from here. And I really value being around people that are high energy and that are positive. And so I want to be that light for other people as they are for me.
Exactly.
So I love that.
No room for drama in my mantra. Like if people have bad vibes or like aren't lifting you up or they're energy suckers, like I've had tough conversations with people in my life that I've been friends with for decades that aren't that aren't around me as much anymore. Intentionally, like I love them and I care about them and I'm so happy that we've had the time that we did. But they just weren't filling my cup, filling my soul as much as I needed to. And I went to therapy for it. Like I had to have established really strong boundaries. And I'm grateful that I did that because I chose myself over other people. And I don't think people do that very often. I think that's probably one of my best and worst traits. Like I feel selfish, but I will always choose my happiness over anybody else's because I don't know what other people's happiness is. Like I'm just like assuming I would, if I don't know, an example of like, oh, I need to go to this friend's birthday, but I really don't want to because X, Y, and Z. And like, I have to go. Like, I'm not going to go. If it's not a hell yeah, it's a no for me, dog. Like, no. And I really live by that. And I will say it hurts some people's feelings, but I am happy. And like, that's all I can control. And I know the type of person and I know the type of friend that I am too. And so it's like, I will show up for you when I really have to and when it really matters. But if this is like protecting my happiness for a short amount of time, like I'm choosing me.
So. If you're in the market for a new vehicle, but you are dreading the car buying process because you've been burned by a dealership in the past, let me just tell you, I recently bought a 2023 Lincoln Aviator Reserve from Apple Autos, and I had such an incredibly positive experience. I actually went shopping by myself. I did not bring my dad or my husband with me, and from the moment I walked in, I felt welcomed and respected. They answered all of my questions without any sort of underlying condescending tone. I never once felt pressured into a car that was out of my budget or didn't fit within my lifestyle. In fact, my sales associate was actually a female, and we went for so many test drives, we totally vibed the entire time. If you're ready to experience the difference for yourself, go to appleautos.com to view their inventory and then visit one of their 7 locations across the Twin Cities. Trust me, you will leave feeling empowered and ready for the road ahead. Yep, I love that. I think that I have noticed recently, and I just had this conversation with my husband. I've noticed recently with my boys, especially my youngest Carter, my 9-year-old, I am seeing people pleaser tendencies already in him. And that is something that I'm really trying to work with him on. It can be a beautiful thing, but it can also be such a curse to yourself. And so we talk a lot about, I'll have to stop him and go, but what do you want?
Right.
I hear you talking about what you think your friends want, or you're afraid that they're going to be mad at you, or he's always worried about me. He's such a lover. Oh my gosh, that child. He just is like,
Yeah, just
gives
such a big
love.
heart.
Yes, he just gives love constantly, hugs, kisses. And he's very aware of my emotions, which I think is so sweet, especially as a boy. But I'm also like, Mom's okay. I don't need you to worry about me so much. So I think that is something to continue to teach our kids too, is to choose themselves in some ways. And I also think that, like you said, relationships come and go. And I think that, especially, I have been in such a growth mindset the last couple of years that I've noticed that when I see people when I'm around people who I feel like are still stuck where I was a couple years ago, I have less patience for it now, because I know that it takes a lot of hard work, but I also know that life is too short to stay stuck.
Exactly.
And so you have the ability to move yourself forward, and you're just choosing not to.
Right.
And sometimes I lose patience with that.
Yep.
And so I just kind of naturally end up putting up a little bit of distance.
And that's kind of like, it's the victim or the victor mindset.
Yeah.
Like a victor doesn't surround itself with victims, and vice versa, honestly. So it's tough, but I think, yeah, to your point, just choosing yourself every time. And I'm sure Carter, very much like his mama, like loves people, gets energy from people, like really cares. And so, and I do too.
Yeah.
I think it's harder for some people. Like people have better hearts than I do sometimes.
I don't think it's a hard issue at all.
Like, because
it's a boundary. It's a boundary. It's not a hard issue. It's a boundaries.
and
you have learned how to establish boundaries. And kudos to you for that.
Yep. Yeah. So it's a very like self-protection probably mode than anything else.
The other mindset that I really love that you have, and you shared this with me when we first did a wardrobe edit, and you have this beautiful condo, and we were in Minneapolis, and we were talking about it. And I love how you said, so tell the story. You walked in and it was above your budget. So tell the story, because I loved this mindset too.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Well, vision boards are a huge thing for me. I think that's the start of the story. Every December 31st, my husband and I do a vision board. That's like my new year. Like I'm not hungover New Year's Day, because I'm like energized, excited about my vision board. So this is the first time I did a vision board, was 2019. And part of that vision board was a skyline of Minneapolis. I had moved back from San Francisco, living with my mom, not paying rent, but trying to save. And I was looking at condos, and I looked at 2 in this building, and one of them was in my price range. And I was like, well, I think I can't remember which one I saw. I think I saw the one I loved first. I walked into my condo, opened the door, and saw this amazing, beautiful skyline that I felt like I saw on my vision board. And so I was like, oh, like, that's a faith thing. That's for me, like a universal connection of putting those things out there to, like, that's the universe's reminder that everything's going to be okay for me. So I walked in, everything was gold and blue and navy and this beautiful skyline. I was like, oh my gosh, this is my house. Like, I just felt like it was mine. And then we went to another one in the condo that was within my budget range. And I was in there with he was my boyfriend at the time, but now husband. And he's like, what's the worst thing that could happen if you buy this condo? It's like, I will look out the window and want to be in the other one. So there's no way. And so I'm like, I'm going to be the type of person that makes the type of money that lives in this type of condo. And that was it. I just it was $100,000 over my budget, and I haven't been evicted yet. So I'm good. But it was like, I think it's just the risk taking is scary. It's very scary.
Especially when it comes to finances.
So I think for me, when I think about the goals, when I start manifesting them, like, that's where the manifestation comes into play. When you already see something, and then it's like, to me, it's just the universe being like, I got you. Like, you can do this because this is what you want, and you'll figure it out. But if I don't intentionally set my vision or desire beforehand, I think that's when I go through life like on a whim, and like, what am I supposed to do? And so lost. So like, meditating, journaling, vision boarding are huge for me. I need to be more disciplined with it. I fall off the wagon for sure, but that's how I make my decisions.
Yep.
So,
And I loved that's what stayed with me is I am going to be the kind of person that can afford to live in this house
right.
or however you said it,
Yep.
right? I'm going to be the kind of person that can make the kind of money to live in this house.
Yep.
And I love that. I actually find myself using that same mantra at times with
Yeah.
other things in my life. Where I'll say, I want to be the kind of person. I think you also said this too, actually, when we went shopping together then.
Yes, I
I
did.
want to be the kind of person that makes the kind of money that can go
Yes.
shopping without looking at
Price
price
tags.
tags.
Yes. And it's funny because when you started this conversation, when you started that, I thought that's what you were going to talk about. I forgot I said that in my condo
Yeah,
too.
yes.
So funny. But yeah, I mean, like, I love money.
Mhm.
And I think as women, like we don't talk about it a lot. Like
Yeah.
I love being at the table with like talking business, talking money, talking equity, talking owning, talking investing.
Yep.
And when I've been financially independent since I was 18. I had my first job at 12 and I've just struggled through a lot of things. I've been very
Yep.
privileged of where I lived, where I grew up. But when I was 18, I just didn't like paid for my own college. My parents just weren't able to help
Yep.
like others were. And I just remember like I made more money off of Rover than my first job. I don't know, like watching
Yeah.
people's dogs.
Yeah.
And I was bartending while working at the Spurs. Like
Yep.
I've just always hustled, and I always had to look at the like, oh my god, that shirt's $20. I can't buy that. Like there's no way. And so that was something that was the first when you and I went shopping.
Yeah.
I know and I always have a budget because I'm really good with money.
Yeah.
I make my budgets and I stick to them.
Yep.
And I did have a budget we came in under, which is
Yeah.
great, but I wasn't even looking
Yeah.
at the price. I was like, oh, I really like that. I don't care how much it is. It works for me. And
Yep.
that was the first time I've ever experienced that. And I remember when I was in San Antonio at, what's Francesca's?
Oh yeah.
I didn't realize they had them up here, but I went with one of my friends, and Trinity was a pretty well off college, so
Yeah.
all my friends had a ton of money.
Yeah.
And so they would just go and grab whatever, and I'm like, oh my gosh, how are you doing that? Like I remember that feeling of like I can't wait till one day that's what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And I did that with you.
And you
So
did that.
thank
I
you
know,
for
and it was
sharing
so
that
fun to be
experience, and I can't wait to do it again.
I know. It was so fun to be a part of that. So let's get into the styling aspect and how this has helped just your energy and the way that you're showing up.
Yes.
So your husband actually found me, Alex.
Yes.
So I've had this happen recently, several times in the last year, and I absolutely love it. It just makes my heart so happy when the husbands reach out. They do the research, they find someone, they're asking all the questions, they're coordinating, and it was so sweet. So this was right when you had just been promoted to a VP. Is that correct? Or were you about to be promoted and you were traveling? What happened? There was like a defining moment where you were so frustrated that your husband was like, I'm going to help you.
Yes. NBA All-Star is
Okay.
in February every year. And I had just gone to, like, maybe 6 months ago, I had just spent like $500 on a new wardrobe.
Yeah.
And thought that was going to like be everything. And I hated shopping. You've saved my life.
Yeah.
But I was just I was like, how do I have all of these clothes and nothing to wear?
Yeah.
And nothing I felt good in, and nothing I've like felt like. I love swag, I love power, I love like sporty. And I was just like, I'm so stressed out. I was like, I wish I could just have someone that could like do this for me.
Yeah.
And he read between the lines, which I'm happy he did, because that's definitely what I was telling him to do. Of like, when I'm gone, like find this for me.
Yeah.
So kudos to Alex. But I came back and he had like 5 people like that he founded, had contacted, and you were one of them. And I looked at your Instagram, and I think you talked about your energy, high vibe, and I was like, yep, it's Amy.
Yeah.
Like, and your colors were bold, like you were bold, and I loved it. So that's how we got connected. But yeah, very grateful for him to do that. But it was NBA All-Star 1, and then 2, I knew like my next step was more executive level, and I knew I needed to just elevate up.
Yeah.
So that was the
and when in his email too, I think the thing that I was very excited about is that we speak the same language when it comes to energy and style, and like even though you recognized that your style was not matching your energy.
Right.
And I think in the email you had said, or when we first talked, you're like, I need to start vibrating at a higher frequency. And I was like, ooh, yeah, I got you. I got you.
Yes.
I love it. I loved it. And then, so we went through your wardrobe first and we put together many outfits.
I'm like, how did I have these in my closet?
Yeah.
I didn't even know.
Yep. And that really helped me then understand, okay, where I could tell when you lit up with things that you put on that I was like, this is it. So then we went shopping together, and I also think this is so cute. So Libby does not like to shop, as
No,
she said.
I love it with you though.
I know.
I'll
So
only go
you
with you.
you and your husband did like a dry run, right? Like you went to the mall.
Yes. Yeah, I forgot about that.
So before our shopping
Oh my
trip,
gosh.
you and your husband went to the mall just so you could like get comfortable.
Yes. Oh my God, I'm like crying laughing. That's so funny. I totally forgot about that. But yeah, like 3 or 4, I was like, I'm so nervous. I just, and I need to shift my mind. I love
Yeah.
shopping with you.
Yeah.
So there we go. That's
Yeah.
my
Yeah.
mindset shift. But yeah, we went, I was like, okay, I need to go into Zara. I need to like walk around. Like I think we're going to go to a Ritz yet. So like we walked around the places I thought we were going to go.
Yeah.
Just because I hadn't been to the mall in so long because I avoided it.
Yeah.
But yes, we did do a dry run. I
I
should have
love
brought
that so
some sage too.
I loved it so much. And I think we shopped for 7
Oh
hours.
my gosh, so long.
We
Which
probably,
is fine for me, but
yeah.
sorry.
No, like, listen, the minute I step into a mall, I just come alive. Like
That's true.
it is an energy thing for me and I can go all day. But I was like, okay. And I told you, I was like, bring some snacks. We can stop when
Yeah.
we need to. And after the first store, you were so into it.
Yeah.
You were dancing in the dressing room at times by the end. Like when you would put something on, it would make you dance. And
Yeah.
it was such a great day. One of my favorites.
Yeah, I do move my body a lot. Like I'm black and white, hot or cold, super transparent. So it's like when you talk about when I would light up with things, it's like, yes, that's very much like either I'm like, oh, I'm so excited. Like I love it. Or it's like, nah. You could totally tell
you could tell right
vibe
away
for me or not.
Yep.
So, yes, that was such a fun day. And we're going to do many more.
Yes. Oh, I love it. I can't wait. And I also really appreciate, so you send me pictures often of your outfits that you've put together and it always is like, wore this outfit you put together for me, or wore this outfit inspired by things that you showed me how to, put it together.
Yeah.
And you're like, felt great, got a lot of compliments. And I love that. That is the stuff that gets me so excited is when I continuously hear from clients how it shifted. So let's talk about that. How has it changed the way that you're showing up?
Yeah.
What is the most notable thing about this transformation for you?
Well, firstly, I'm happy to hear that you like that because if I texted you every time I thought one of those things, I'm like, Amy would think I'd be a total creep. So
I love it.
Every day. I was almost about to text you one yesterday too.
I love it. Please do. Always do.
I didn't ever think of myself as like not a well-dresser or like since I've always been in sports, I've been a tomboy. I've been like, I haven't really been into, I don't like wearing a ton of makeup, hate doing my hair. I've just not really like loved that side of things. And I think with fashion and particularly like when I look at other women in the office and around, it's like very feminine. And I'm just like, that's just like, not that I'm not feminine, but it wasn't really me. I just felt like I stepped, like now the outside matches the inside.
Yeah.
I feel like, and I do just like walk taller, like more confident. And I think it's also because of all the compliments I get.
Yeah.
Like I think I texted you right after. I was like, do people just tell you they love your outfit every day? Because that's what I'm getting from the things that like, and I never used to get that. And I think it just like elevates perception.
Yeah.
And like perception is reality in so many things. And I just haven't thought of myself as like the prettiest or like the most girly. And so I never really tried.
Yep.
And not that I think of myself that way now, but it just like, I think I was kind of insecure. So I just like, oh yeah, I'll just kind of look sloppy today or like, I don't really know. But you being able to help me like put something together that feels like me and elevates, like, I think when I walk through the office or like walk down the street for coffee, and like, oh, like people be like, oh damn, like that girl's outfit is like, because the energy is just totally different.
It is.
It's totally different. So it's helped me so much.
Yeah.
Just the confidence that I have going into meetings, because if I'm going and selling hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of it, like I better feel good.
Right. And you're meeting with a lot of executives too.
I am, yes.
And your male boss is very well dressed too, right?
And my CEO. Yes.
And your CEO. Yes. So I remember you talked about that. You're like, I'm going to be at the table with them more often. And so you were like, you had said like you suddenly just felt like insecure about that, or maybe it's like you didn't belong.
Yes. And
has that changed?
It definitely
have they noticed or said anything?
I don't know, because I think it's probably like they don't really want to comment on dress.
Which I agree with. I do agree with. But I wondered if they admit, I think the way to do it is to say like, I've noticed an energy shift in you without specifically calling it out to style. But they might be thinking it. We don't need their validation. We know.
We don't. I will say like, and this is very much like my perception too. Like my boss and CEO awesome people. They would never like, there was never any like degrading comments around like fashion or anything like that. But it's just like, I want to be in their offices, and they know that. And so it's like, I aspire to be like them, and like I want to act like them, I want to dress like them. And so that really helped. I will say too, beforehand I would sometimes wear stuff and I would be like, oh my gosh, I hope I don't see my CEO in the hall, and like walk by, and like every single time I would see him, and he would never like, he probably doesn't, I'm not the center of his universe, he's not thinking about me, like
but it was an insecurity.
It was an insecurity. Yes. And now it's like, oh, I should walk up there because I have a really cool outfit on.
Yeah, you go out of your way to find it. So going back to being a mentor at the Wayzata High School in their Compass program, at the beginning of every semester, I go in and I do a presentation on like how to dress in a professional environment, because this is a class that is for that teaches around business and business projects, and they do have to dress business casual for the class. And that is one thing that I always say is like, when you are getting ready, and sometimes we second guess things, right? We're like, is this appropriate? Is it not? Does it look good or not? I always think about, if you were to step into the elevator and the CEO of your company is in that elevator, would you want to hide in the corner, or would you feel confident standing there in front of him? And I remember my own experience one time when I worked downtown, I would always bring flip-flops for when I'd walk around the Skyway, because I would take off my heels. And I was in the elevator in flip-flops, and the CEO walks in, and I curled my toes up and hid, and I thought, that's it. So then I went and bought some nice flats or some great sneakers and left those under my desk, because I can still have comfortable, but like, it didn't need to be a flip-flop. And in that moment, I realized the importance of even down to the shoe choice.
Right. Yes.
So,
and I think too, the things like, and you were even prepping when you were going through my closet audit, I was like, oh, I could wear that. You're like, no, you can't, because like, it's pilling. Like people, like people that elevate their dress, like notice these things, and those are the people I'm gonna be around. And so it's just, it has been a game changer. I'm just so much more confident. I get so many more compliments. You've also helped. My favorite thing is like the quarter zip with like nice pants. Yeah, because we do like sports you can wear like quarter zip Lynx Wolves polos. It's awesome, and it looks so much. I wore it yesterday. I'll send you the picture. Yeah. But it just like is so much better than jeans, and it's just an elevated, like my title's elevated, the way I operate is elevated, style is elevated.
And I think that's one thing that we really did nail for you, is this mix of sporty and sophistication.
Exactly.
And I think that, and that's so fun. I love working with all different women of backgrounds and styles and body shapes. And it's so fun because your style is different than mine, but I feel like we really nailed it. And it's been so fun. And there are times where you put on something that is a bit sexier, but it still has this like powerhouse vibe to it. Yeah. And I love it. Also, okay, so I always, whenever I'm working with clients, and I do this on Instagram too, but I always share my little like trademark tips or sayings. And so tell them about the necklaces need friends. Yeah. Because I love to hear how things stick with you.
They do. They definitely did. So I, again, like sporty spice, whatever. You asked to see my jewelry. I was like, I don't have any, because I'm always working out. I'm running to a workout class. I do golf league, tennis league, all the things. And so just jewelry is annoying for me, or it was before. Yeah. Enter Amy. But you were like, yeah, you're gonna start wearing necklaces, and your necklaces need friends. So I always like to say, because you brought some with you, and you put them on, and you put on multiple. I was like, oh gosh, that's a lot, because I'd never seen myself in a necklace. And that is definitely one thing that has stuck with me, is that necklaces need friends. The other day, going from sport to sport, I take a lot of my jewelry off in the car, and I actually leave it in there when I head up to my condo. I only had one necklace on. I was like, oh, I have other ones in the car. That's totally fine. And I saw myself in the bathroom. I forgot to put it on. I saw myself in the bathroom at work. I was like, oh, one necklace. Oh my gosh, this is awful. They need more friends. I've told that to a lot of people too. I told that, I was recently on a girls trip, and I told that to someone before that girls trip, and she was like, oh, I brought necklaces or friends for my necklaces. I was like, Amy would be so proud.
I am so
spreading the word.
I feel like I need to trademark that saying.
Yes, and we have a matching one on today.
Yes,
which is
we do.
Amazing.
Shout out to Ella Marie Jewelry, one of my favorites, local designer. But yeah, I do remember that, and like I'd put it on. I layered on, and I always try to use like pieces that you have already, because you did have some pendants and stuff. And so I was like, well, it just needs some friends. And I could tell right away that you weren't initially sold on it. So I was like, that's fine. I never push, because I bring jewelry with me to
Yep.
the consults, Ella's jewelry
Yep.
with me. And I was like, I'm not here to sell you on something that
No.
does not feel you.
Right.
And I was like, so let's skip it for now. And then by the time we went back shopping, you were like, I can't stop thinking about that tennis necklace. I'm going to need that. And then we
Mm-hmm.
found some others. And so you just had to like get used to it. And
Mm-hmm.
now, like you said, you wear jewelry probably every day.
Every day. And also you have to get used to it and like find your style with it too.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Because like the chunky thing is just like not for me. And
Yeah.
I don't know why. And it can be for other people and it's
Yep.
great. But I really like kind of the daintier
Yeah.
type of things. And we were able to find
Yep.
some of those. I do remember too, and your outfit always on par, and I'm gonna buy those pants.
Yeah.
But I remember when you put a sweater over my shoulder at my condo. I was like, I can't, no, sorry.
Yeah.
And it looks fab on other people, and it like is their personality, like, but it just wasn't. I feel like if I would have walked around like that, it's just like not, the inside wouldn't match the outside.
Yes.
So
yes.
yeah.
And that's I think when you can start to identify what doesn't feel like you as well as what does feel like you, it's really helpful too as you start to figure out again your own style. And you can recognize like, and I don't want everyone walking around dressing like me. That's what I always say. I want to find everyone's individual style.
And you were so great in that too, of just like you could tell when it wasn't me. You're like, totally good. Like, how does this feel? And even if I was like, oh, you're like, it's okay. We can come back to it.
Yeah.
And you've added vests to my wardrobe. And now I've gotten so like, I am known as like, they're like, oh, Libby rocks a vest at work.
Yeah.
Like they like talk about it.
Yeah.
And so it's like, yes.
Yeah. Like the suited vest. Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. Cause I remember when you tried it on, you were like, I don't know.
Yeah.
And then I was like, the one, I think it was at Abercrombie, and I was like, look at how it fits you. It fit phenomenal. And you're like, okay, I'm going to get this one. And then you've gone back and got more since
I went
then.
to Aritzia and got another one.
Yep.
And then I just got one at Indochino too.
Yes.
So yes, I am a vest girl now. It's super sporty. I think I sent you a picture. I was at WNBA All-Star. Yeah. And I sent you
it looked amazing. Yeah. And you had on just a fitted white tee underneath it and some sneakers. I think some dunks.
Yep.
The thing I love too about that example with the vest is I could tell you liked it enough that you were willing to try it. And sometimes I do say like, try it. And if you were to wear it and hate it, then we know. Right. But you don't need to go buy them in all different colors or whatever at first. Like wear it and see how you feel. And so you did that, and then you're like, okay, now I gotta need some more.
Now I need more. Definitely. I'll try anything once. For sure.
That's
maybe
what I
not the
say
sweater
too.
thing like that. The once was just trying it out. I was like, okay, no. But like the vest, it was like, ooh, this is a little different. I don't know, but I think that's my vibe. I didn't know it. I didn't know I needed vests. I need so many. We have to go back.
I need vests. I love, it's so funny. It's like I have these trends or these certain styles or pieces that I love. And I keep saying I need it. And then I have yet to go. I have one vest, but it's like a linen pink one. And you can't wear a bra with it. And it's just, it almost feels a little sloppy because linen is so soft and wrinkly. And I like things more crisp. So I need to go. I am going to go get a vest.
Let's go.
Let's do it. I love it. Okay, let's also go back a little bit to your career because you are breaking glass ceilings. You're continuing to move up, and you are in a male-dominant industry, though, correct? Like, do you mostly work with men?
I would say mostly.
Well, aside from the Lynx, right?
Yeah.
Because that's the...
Right. Lynx is WNBA for sure.
Also, just love what's happening with women's sports.
Oh my gosh, it's amazing.
Does that just make you so happy?
It makes me so happy. Like, I could go on, and that's a whole different podcast. Yeah. I feel like, but like the sponsorship model, like the money model with women's sports is broken. And so getting it on TV, getting people butts in seats, like now that like the product, now people are actually seeing what the product is. I think there was just such a misconception about what the product was. It's like, and I grew up thinking that my brother used to be like, oh, like women's, like girls are slow. Like you're not as good at basketball as boys. Like, and if you say that now, you're like, are you kidding?
Yeah. They're better shooters.
Right. So that was 10 years ago, 20 years ago. Like, so just, there's also a climate of the era shift a little bit too. Yep. So it's amazing. Watch women's sports, any and all, like so good. I can't wait and the W is only 25 years old. Ish. Yeah. And the NBA is 75. More than that, but it's just like where the W is ahead of where the NBA was when at the same age. Okay. So I think we have to realize like how much younger and how small of a like time frame
Yep.
we're looking at. Adding more teams. San Francisco is going to have the Valkyries next year. Toronto's another team that they're adding. So there's 30 NBA teams and there's 12 WNBA teams. And
Okay.
so we're adding more and more.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Tell me about a time, like what is like a very memorable interaction you've had with
Oh,
a celebrity athlete or
yes.
professional athlete,
It's funny
male
because
or female?
when I think about that, my first thought goes to when I wasn't even working in sports.
Okay.
It goes to chasing Lindsay Whalen down the hall at the barn at the University of Minnesota to get her autograph on my hat.
How old were you?
7th grade,
Okay.
8th grade. Like that I can like still see,
Yeah.
like when she turned and gave me that autograph. And we had season tickets to the Gophers when she was playing. It was me, our coach, and then 2 of my friends.
Okay.
And our coach was one of my friend's dads, and he took us to every Gopher game when they went to the Final Four.
Amazing.
And so I grew up watching Lindsay Whalen, Jim McCarville, and then they were on the Lynx. And now, like, my husband calls her Way. I'm like, no, it's Lindsay Whalen. Like, because he actually played pickup. Like, he used to be on the practice squad against the Lynx, so he like knows her.
Yeah.
His last name is Gustafson. So she's like, hey, Gus, like, what's going on? I'm like, did Lindsay Whalen just call you Gus? Like, what is going on? So that's like my
That's cool.
shining one.
Yeah.
I would say after the, like, in sports, after the 2014 championship, and I'm not working there anymore, so it's not a big deal. I was an intern at the time at the Spurs.
Yeah.
And somehow ended up at Tony Parker's house
Okay.
after the championship, which was crazy. One of my friends in ticket sales was really good friends with Tony. And so it was like Tony, Boris Diaw, a bunch of the guys that were on the championship team. It wasn't right after the game. It was like after the parade.
Yeah.
But I was like walking around. I was like, oh my God, where am I? I'm so going to get fired if anyone finds out that I'm here. So
Was it wild? Or?
It was like, it was wild, but it was also like, they're just regular people.
Yeah.
Like, they're like with a lot of money and really cool houses.
Yeah.
But yeah, everyone was super nice. And yeah, it was, totally cool.
Fun fact, I was voted best smile my senior year of high school. It's in the yearbook. I have the receipts to prove it. I was also voted biggest flirt, but we'll touch on that subject another day. You guys, I swear my smile is so big you can count all the teeth in my mouth. And this is why I've always been diligent about going to my routine cleanings every 6 months, even though I honestly dislike going to the dentist, and I know I am not alone in that. Dr. Ben Stein at Northeast Dental is here to change the game by making the dental experience more, dare I say, enjoyable. When Dr. Ben Stein took over DuRochak Dental, a family-owned practice and business since 1961, he wanted to keep that same family feel but give it a modern-day touch. As a younger, dedicated professional with a passion for continuing education, he believes in keeping up to date on the latest dental materials and advancements. With cutting-edge technology like 3D x-rays and digital scanners for orthodontics, you can forget about gagging on those old, goopy impressions they used back when I had to get braces. If you know, you know. Plus, if you struggle with sleep-related breathing disorders, Dr. Ben Stein's extensive studies and years of experience in a sleep study clinic mean you're in expert hands. You can actually test and treat sleep apnea with an oral device prescribed in-house. Whether you need surgery, implants, or just a routine checkup, Northeast Dental's got you covered. They're in network with several dental plans, making it even easier to get the care you need. And the best part? The atmosphere. Northeast Dental is as low-key and chill as a dental practice can be. They take the time to get to know you, making every patient feel valued. So if you're looking for a dental practice that's approachable, cool, and truly dedicated to your unique dental needs, check out Northeast Dental, located at the corner of University and Broadway in Northeast Minneapolis. To book an appointment, call 612-379-2300. That's 612-379-2300. Your smile will thank you.
Whole thing. There were probably 30 or 40 people that were his best friends there.
Yeah.
So, and then just like me and the other intern just hopping along.
I love it. You're like, I'll try anything once. I'll show up.
I'll do it.
I love a good adventure. A spontaneous night that
Yes.
just lands you
Yes.
somewhere that you never would have thought that you would be.
Exactly.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So you are still young in your career. How old are you? Can I ask?
Yeah, you can. Good question. I was about to like ask my husband. I'm going to be 33 at the end of August. I'm
Okay.
32 right now. So I'll hang on to 32 for as much as
Yeah.
as
No,
long
I'm
as I
laughing
can.
only because there was a time when I thought for about 6 months that I was 35 and I was just going to be turning 34. And it wasn't until I don't know how I was so off. And I had a Botox. I went to get Botox and I had to write on there my age and I wrote in 35, whatever. It wasn't until a friend of mine was like, Amy, I'm older than you and I'm not even 35. And I was like, wait, what? How? It felt like I got like a year of my life back.
See, I thought I just felt like I lost a year of my life.
Yeah.
So the reason I had to like wait on it is because I thought I was going to be 32
Yeah.
in August. And my husband, he's in July. And he's like,
Yeah.
no, we're 33. And I was like, what? So like when you asked me that, I just had a little bit of flashback. I lost a year of my life. Going to be 33. But yeah, still very young.
Still very young in your career
Yes.
and to be a VP, that's incredible. So what are some tips that you would give to the young careerists that are listening?
Yes. I think for me, like the worst anyone can ever say is no.
Yeah.
And so always ask. And like I've been there for 5 years. Other than my boss, there's no one else that's gone to VP as quickly as I have. And I have 0 people from my organization have asked me to coffee to see how I did it.
Interesting.
And so for me, what I found most valuable is like I identify influential people in the organization. And this is sports. There's 150 people in the organization, like not a ton. So people are much more accessible than like at a Target or General Mills or something. So I'm speaking for a small subset. I wouldn't necessarily know exactly how to do it elsewhere, but find influential people within the organization, go have coffee with them, add value, like ask about how they got there and continue that relationship. I have a whole Google Doc of everyone, like all the, this is kind of embarrassing, but all the execs on my, in my organization, conversations I've had with them and like what their kids' names are. Like if they're like going to do a marathon at the end of summer, like reach out and see how it went. Just like keeping.
Okay. That is not embarrassing. That is actually very smart.
Well, it's like,
It's smart in like an EQ way, right? Like you want to build relationships. You want to remember, you want to show them that you remember their conversation and that you care enough to reach out and follow up on certain things. I love that.
Yeah. And I think too, like I think everything gets done through people. And the first time you're hearing about me is when I'm applying for a job, like I have not done my job right. Like you should know me before that. You should know me after that. So I think identifying influential people in the organization and connecting with them is important. And also realizing like they're going to cancel on you. They're not going to get back to you right away. Like, and that being okay, because like you just understanding that you're not the center of everyone else's universe. You're the center of your universe.
Yeah.
But like assuming positive intent is something that I'm very grateful to my boss for instilling in me, because I used to be like, what's happening? Why isn't it? And it's like, because they're busy.
Yeah.
Like it's okay.
Yeah.
So,
don't take it personally.
Right.
When you're reaching out and asking for a meeting, because I have thoughts on this as well, and I want to hear from you. I think so. And I get it from people too. Can we grab coffee? Well, why? What do you want to talk about? What's in it for me? If I'm giving you my time, and I'm very generous with my time, but I have gotten to coffee meetings before and I've been like, this is a question I definitely could have just answered through a DM, or they're not prepared. And it's like, I hardly have time for my friends that I want to see. And so to sit and just chat or pick your brain. So when you're reaching out to someone, what is kind of the talk track that you use? And then how do you make sure that you show up prepared?
That's an awesome point. And I'm totally agree too, because like my schedule is crazy. And so everyone above me schedule is crazy. I think to your point, you have to add value. And like I recently, like I got promoted in May and I'm still going through all the execs in our organization of just grabbing 30 minutes with them. And I'm reaching out of like, hey, now that I'm on the senior leadership team and we'll be working more closely together, wanted to grab some face-to-face time so conversations in the future are easier. Like to your point, that's my why. But it's really like, it could be a 15-minute conversation. It could be 30. It could be all about business. It could be about personal. And that was actually advice a mentor of mine gave me. So that was the genesis of why I'm reaching out to them. But I think it's always like, I admire your path. I'm trying to do this. Wonder if you could help support here. Would love to learn this. Like, it's not just, hey, we just love to pick your brain. Like that, can't do that. And also I recently, like I know I scared this girl because she has not reached back out to me or even like sent a thank you. I got connected to her through a friend in the industry, and she was like, I think this girl could use a mentor. And I was like, great, I'd love to help.
Yeah.
And we got on the call in like 3 minutes, and she's like, yeah, so I don't really have any questions for you. And I was like, what? It was the day I got back from like a 10-day vacation.
Yeah.
I'm back to back to back. And I was like, I can fill the hour for sure, because I'm in sales. I can talk about anything.
Yeah.
But she then asked at the end, like, oh, would this be okay if we did this for like an hour every month? And I was like, we can. Like, I would need you to come more prepared and like let me know what I can help you with. And she tone changed,
body
physicality
language
changed. Like, she was terrified.
Yeah.
And so I think it is like, you have to be obsessed with, they're not like obsessed with that person. I tell my team all the time, like, be obsessed with the prospect, be in love with their brand. Like, do your research as to why you're reaching out, and do follow-ups as well.
Yeah.
Another piece too, and someone, another awesome advisor for me internally said, like, if you're meeting with C-level, like the day before, send their admin like an agenda of like talking points that you want to talk about.
I love that.
Of just like, hey, this is like, wanted you to send this along to who, like CEO XYZ, excited to meet them tomorrow, but wanted to like make sure they're prepared. So it just like shows that you've done your homework. And it can be 3 bullet points of like breaking glass ceilings, or like sales approach, or navigating like tumultuous economy. Like, just do a little prep. And then keep that relationship going with little touch points. Sometimes I have a reminder on my calendar of like, find a reason to reach out to XYZ. And it's like, send an article. It's like, hey, thought of you. Don't like, not every connect should be asking for something. But you just want, I'm very cognizant of my personal brand. And when people think of me, I want them to be like, oh yeah, she adds value. So
I love that. She adds value. Yep. No, that's so helpful. And I think for me, the majority of my career was in sales and sales leadership up until I left to become a stylist. And now, especially with the podcast, I'm back in this sales role where I am selling my ideas. I'm selling the concept. I'm looking for partners. And so I've had to put my sales hat back on. And this is a really good refresher for me, because I have walked out of a meeting where I was so embarrassed. My face was bright red because I realized that I had not prepared enough. Like, I didn't do enough research. I came with this idea before, and I went right into like, here's why I'm here. I want to sell you on my idea of how we can partner. And as soon as I was done with my little pitch, they were like, yeah, so we've done that. We've actually done something similar, and we do this, this, and this. And I was mortified because I didn't ask enough questions, and I didn't do my homework enough to realize that they had already done that. But sometimes, to your point about the no's, like, I will never forget that. And it has reminded me that I need to go back to like what I remember from being in sales.
And that's growth too. Like that you'll never do that again.
The humility of it is sometimes very humbling.
And so sometimes when I walk out of something, like, I have those, like, my team, not like they think I'm like the perfect seller. And I'm like, no, I've just screwed up so many times. I know I never want that feeling again. And so it's like, another like, I don't know, mantra, quote, whatever, but John Wooden, he was a really great basketball coach. He said, I'm confident a doer makes mistakes. If you're not making mistakes, you're not doing anything. So the reason you felt that was because you're actually putting yourself out there and like trying to go make the sale. So like, you're doing something, mistake made, you'll learn and go. So like, that's anytime, because I have those just like, oh, that felt so icky, or like, I had one of those like 3 months ago, and it's like, well, I felt this before, and I'm still employed and I'm doing well. And I've learned from it. So I do think too, like, I don't like when an email can be sent blanket. Like, it's like, it has to be very specific to that person, or that, like, I couldn't copy and paste this and send this to 10 other local CMOs. So that's another, just like, because people are getting emails all the time and they're all very generic. It's like,
you want to be memorable. You have to make yourself memorable. And I think one thing too that I have come to benefit from and appreciate about you is you are such a master connector. And I love that too. Like, I love connecting good people with good people. But the minute I had told you in our first wardrobe edit at your house, when I told you about the podcast, because I was just starting it, hadn't launched yet, you immediately were like, oh, I need to introduce you to this person, this person, this person. You're like, I will help you however I can. You gave me some amazing tips and even sent a follow-up email after our shopping with like, here's how I would think about your sponsorship packets. And I remember thinking, like, you have so many, you didn't need to do that for me. And I could tell you did it because you genuinely want to see other women succeed and help them move forward. And you love connecting people. I mean, you introduced me to Kobe, who
Yes,
is, shout out
Kobe.
Kobe. Kobe is my video editor. And I was spinning out. I was trying to edit it myself because I was afraid to invest in my idea until I knew that this would be something that could be successful or make a profit. And I realized that I was holding myself back because I could not figure out the editing of these videos at all or the audio. In fact, my first three of them were so bad we had to throw it out and record. And so finally I was like, I am just going to hire someone. And I reached out to you and you introduced me to Kobe. And I had talked to a couple other people, but when I got on the phone with Kobe, we just had an amazing conversation. I knew right away that this was someone I want to work with. And he's like, I need to like think about it if I can have capacity because he's a videographer for the Timberwolves and the Lynx as well. So he's got a full-time job. He's busy. He's like, let me think about it. And then he came back and he's like, I'm in. Let's do it. And he's been so wonderful. But we were talking about that earlier today of like just the divine intervention of the universe bringing us together at the right time. And then also the people that you have since brought into my life at the right time from that meeting.
Yes. And that's even such an unlock right now because you were even thinking about like, I need to invest in the videographer to like change my energy. Like I was like, I need to invest in my clothes, like, in my look, in my style.
Yes.
And so it was like, I wonder if like the theme of our like connection was like invest in ourselves to elevate our game.
Yes.
But I don't, not that I don't do that for everybody. Like I only connect people that like my brand is also an extension of who I'm surrounded
100%.
And I'm like, Amy's a badass. She crushes. Like, yes, I'm going to help her in any way I can. And I also love that you're doing something different and outside of your comfort zone. And I think so many times people, when they do that, other people are like, oh, are you scared? Is it like, what if this goes wrong? It's like, no, like, that's so awesome. Like, go. Like, how can I help you? What, like, I'm so excited to see you shine. I'm so excited to see what you learn. I'm so excited to see, like, what comes of it. And, like, people are not brave enough to do scary things. And, like, I just think it's so cool when people do that. And I want to be able to, like, help support in any way because I think there's so much negativity around. And it's like, I'll connect you with whoever. It's like, then it's on, like, I'll set the pick. You got to make the shot. Like, right. Then it's on you guys to like see if it works out. And I think I've connected with a few people that it might not have worked out and not in just like timing wise, but like the Kobe thing stuck and it's awesome. And I'm grateful that you connected or you invested in yourself in that way. And I'm so excited for like, that's why I'm so excited to be on this too. It's just like, this is just something that even when you first started or you mentioned it at my house and I could like there was a little nervousness around it. It's like, no, like go do it. Like I'm so proud of you. Like this is insane. I could not do this. Like it's so fun to see just like your investment in yourself and the belief you have in yourself and the faith that you have. So I
Thank
do.
You. I need to hear that because I've been getting in my own way again recently. So
no, you're a queen.
I appreciate that. These are the kind of women that we need in our lives.
Well, it's grateful for the universal connection for sure. Like we came into each other's lives like to help support in different ways. And I'm like
it's such a give and take. I love that. Okay, last question is one that I ask everybody. So what do you think is a common thread that connects all of us as humans?
Ooh, good tie into the name for sure. Yeah. Common thread name. Well done. I like the full circle. Honestly, I think it's just that like nobody knows what they're doing. Like I just do the best I can with what I have on every day. And like I think like people look at people that are like in such an intimidating way if they're successful or like they're just figuring it out on a day to day. And so I think if we just like peel everything back and just look at it like that of like everyone's just trying to do the best they can with what they have and no one like has all the answers. Like I think that is probably the most common thread that I could see.
I love that.
Everyone's just trying to make it in life and be happy and live and like be surrounded by peace and love and no one has all the answers. But have fun along the way.
Lots of fun. I love that. That's a beautiful answer. And I do agree with you. I think it also allows us to give each other a little bit more grace when we think about it that way, right? If someone makes a mistake or does something that rubs us the wrong way,
Right.
it's like we
Assume
all
positive intent.
assume positive intent. We're
Yep.
all just trying to figure it out as we go. Well, Libby, this has been so fun.
Yes.
I love time with you.
Yes.
You raise my vibration.
As
so
do you. So thank you so
yes,
much.
thank you.
I'm excited for our next shopping trip for Vest.
I know. I
It'll be
can't
so
wait. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. If you have a guest you would like to have on my show or any ideas for topics, please email me, amy@amyseaman.com. Until next week.